So we're learning the Mishnah of Shara Muad, which is here on page Lamed Zayin. Shashu Muad Lemino, V'eno Muad L'She'eno Mino. We'll soon see that there are two girsos of the Mishnah. One girsa says Shashu Muad Lemino, Eno Muad L'She'eno Mino, and the other girsa, as we have it in our printed Gemaras, is Shashu Muad Lemino, Ve'eno Muad L'She'eno Mino, meaning he's proven himself to be Muad Lemino, but to be non-Muad to other minim, which means that, let's say, he was Nogeach one min 3 times, he's a Muad for that min, and then on 3 occasions, he saw, or at least on one occasion, that's going to be an issue too, he saw an animal of a different min, and a day went by, and he wasn't Nogeach that other min. So therefore, as the Mishnah will say later, he only pays Nezek Shalem for that min that he was muad for, that he, let's say, hit 3 shvarim that he saw, but he's not muad, and he only pays Chatzi Nezek for Eno Mino. Muad li Adam, v'Eno muad lo behema. He attacks human beings, but he doesn't attack other animals. Or alternatively, Muad Liktanim, he attacks young, smaller animals like agalim, which are calves, but Vienna Muad Ligdolim, if he sees a full-fledged cow or an ox, then he stays away. Eshu Muad Lo Mishalim Nezek Shalim, Ve'eshena Muad Lo Mishalim Chatzi Nezek. So he's got a split personality. He's established himself a Muad to pay Nezek Shalim for one particular min, one category, but not for the other category for which he's still a tam, and he pays Chatzi Nezek. And this seems to imply that there's a way of protecting, for the Baal to protect his animal from being a Naghan when the animal is in proximity to a certain min, and being a little bit, shall we say, laid back about the possibility that the animal would be Nogeach a different min, although he will pay Chatzi Nezek as a shartam in event that the animal does Nogeach a Negicha to the other min. Amru Lifnei Rabbi Yehuda. The Mishnah concludes with a question that was presented in the presence of Rabbi Yehuda. Harei ze muad l'shabasos v'eno muad l'chol. What's the deal with a shar that's Nogeach 3 times, and each time he was Nogeach, it was Shabbos? Does that mean that this shar is a shar hamud l'shabbosos, but not liyamei achol? For example, let's say, as Rashi points out, the shar does not do malach on Shabbos, right? The shar rests on Shabbos because the Torah says u'b'hem techon. So therefore, on a lazy day, when it's a day off for the shar, that's dafka when the shar gets angry. And I guess the shar is a little bit, they say that shiamum, if a person's bored, then he has to, find a way of expressing his activity, his action. However, Tosfos, Dibra Maskal Hareu Muad L'Shabbosos, quotes Yerushalmi with a different approach. Why should an animal be a shara muad l'Shabbos and not l'chol? It seems so, at the face of it, it seems so arbitrary that this animal becomes belligerent and angry and a naghan only on Shabbos and not on chol. So the Yerushalmi points out that ra osam b'malbushim noim achirim v'chashuvim b'einav v'nachrim heim v'einam akiram. He's used to seeing people dressed in a certain way 6 days out of the week. On Shabbos, they dress in a different way with Big Day Shabbos. So the levush change makes them very strange and unfamiliar to the animal. So the animal is unfamiliar. There's a whole psychology here of the animals that when they see people that are not familiar, they get very belligerent. They get very pressured, and they go out and they damage. So that's for Shabbos according to the Yerushalmi. And that's exactly where Rabbi Yehuda responded to the Talmidim who asked this question, Omer lehem, l'shabbosos, mishalim nezek sholem, u'liyameachol, if the shor is nogech on a weekday, mishalim chatzi nezek. You heard of the story of the Rogachover from Dvinsk?
Which story?
Joseph Rosen, he was a genius.
Yeah, no, I know.
And there was this baby that stopped nursing. And the mother of the baby was very alarmed. Apparently in those days, they didn't have, all the materna that we have. So nursing was very critical to the ongoing health of the baby. And, she was at loss for any ideas as to what to do to get the baby to start nursing. So they decided to take the question to the Rogachover. And the Rogachover gave her the following eitzah. He said to her, have you perhaps changed your garments? And she said that she had bought a new dress, so I don't know all the details of the case, but he encouraged her to go back to her original dress, and sure enough, the baby started nursing. And that maybe saved the baby's life. They came to the Rogachover and they asked him, how could you know such a thing? Are you an expert in nursing? Did you study a course in school?
Right.
So he said, I know a Yushalmi. And Yushalmi says that a shor gets angry and behaves much more belligerently in a case where he doesn't recognize people's clothing. And a baby is like a shor in that sense. And by changing her clothing, the baby felt like she was a stranger. Just shows you what Chazal say, hafochba v'afochba dekulaba. You can find anything in the Torah. Finishing
Right.
with the Mishnah says, V'emasai hutam, at what point does this shor, who became a nagchan and a muad l'shabbosos, go back to do tshuva and reclaim his position as a shor tam? If on 3 consecutive Shabbosos he sees a shor and he's not nogech, he becomes very placid. And that's the way the shor was choser bo, from being a muad l'shabbosos, and now he becomes a tam and only pays henceforth chatzi nezek. Itmar, we start the Gemara. Rav Zvid Omar vi eno muad tanan, Rav Papa Omar eno muad tanan. So the difference between the girsa of Rav Zera and that of Rav Papa is only one letter, and that's the vav. So that Rav Zvid has the extra vav, vi eno muad, whereas Rav Papa says eno muad tanan. That's how his girsa is in the Mishnah, without the additional vav. And the Gemara now is going to explain the difference between Rabbi Zera, who has the extra vav, and Rav Papa, who omits the vav. And what we're going to see is that this machlokes between Rav Zvid and Rav Papa is not just relevant to our Mishnah about a shor muad, but it has implications in terms of how to read other Mishnayos. Rav Zvid Omar ve'eno muad tanan. So in Rav Zvid's Mishnah, there's an extra vav. And what does that mean? It means that a shor was a muad lemino, and then you read it v'eno muad l'she'eno muad. What is ve'eno muad means that we know for sure that the animal, the shor, is not muad to another min. How so? How does Rav Zvid in his girsa know that the shor is ve'eno muad? He's for sure not muad to other minim. According to Rav Zvid, it means that the animal saw other minim and it was not nogeach. And the implication there is hastama. If we don't have a proof that the animal is not nogeach, it's placid with regard to another min, like for example, let's say it never saw the other min. All of a sudden, for the first time, it's going to see the other min. In that case, According to Rav Zvid, we assume that the shor is muad for all minim. So ve'eno muad means that we have to prove with regard to the other minim that the animal is guiltless, so to speak, is innocent. And in this case, you're guilty until proven innocent. So you need a positive hochacha, according to Rav Zvid, that this shor is not muad for another min. If at this point in time the shor was nogeach 3 shvarim, we're going to assume that it's a belligerent animal, even vis-a-vis other minim, other types and other species of animals. We don't have a proof that the shor is not muad for another min. And therefore, stama havi muad. We assume until we know otherwise for sure that the animal is muad for every single min. And again, that's true even though we only saw that the animal has been nogeach 3 shvarim, 1 single min. But if the animal is belligerent by nature, then we can anticipate, unless we know otherwise, that it will continue that kind of behavior pattern and be belligerent, even vis-a-vis other minim. Unless ve'eno mino, unless we have proven that it's not muad for another min. That's Rav Zera with the extra vav. However, Rav Papa disagrees. Amar eno muad tanan. He doesn't have the extra vav. And the way he reads the Mishnah is an entirely different reading of the Mishnah than Rav Zera. Let's not be mizalsel in the difference of one letter. Because the way Rav Papa is going to read the Mishnah is that shar shu muad lamino, namely, the shar has attacked on 3 occasions 3 different shvarim. Leave out the vav. Eino muad l'sheino mino. He is innocent until proven guilty. And the Gemara's medayik to stumble avi muad. At this point in time, that the shar proved himself to be muad l'shvarim, and on 3 occasions he attacked shvarim, he's not assumed to be muad for any other min. And if he goes ahead and he's nogeach another min until we know for sure he's muad to another min, then he still retains his status as a shor tam. And until he's nogeach 3 times the other min, the bailam will only pay chatzi nezeh. Not my Gemara, and I got it. Sorry. The Gemara clarifies. What led Rav Zvid to his conclusion? Diek mi seifa. To Ketani, it says in the seifa, muad liktanim v'eno muad ligdolim. Iamrit bishlema. If you're going to tell me that the extra vav is in the Mishnah v'eno muad ketani, which means, as Rav Zvid said with regard to eno mino in the Reisha, then eno muad ketani means, if you add the vav, that the Mishnah is saying that we know that it's not muad to gedolim. We've seen on occasion that gedolim have passed by in front of this animal and it was not nogeach. And in that case, it's not muad l'shvarim gedolim. So again, the philosophy of Rabbi Zera, if we could have it like that, is that guilty until proven innocent. You've got to prove that it's not a muad. And that's v'eno muad ketani. Hastama. If the animal has been nogeach 3 times shvarim, and now it matters not whether they were gedolim or ketanim. For example, maybe the animal was never exposed to gedolim. Havi muad, we assume guilty until proven innocent. So v'eno muad means we've seen on occasions that it did not attack a larger animal. Hakar mashmalon, and the chiddush of this Mishnah is that afilu miktan l'gedolim nami mistama havi muad. That unless we prove otherwise, we assume that, okay, the occasion had it over and over again that it saw Ketanim, but nevertheless, the attack against Ketanim indicates the nature of the animal, and this shore is muad even for Gedolim. So what's Rav Zvid's big diuk here? Ela I amrit eno muad Ketani. If you're going to assume the girsa that removes the vav, like Rav Papa has the girsa, meaning that stoma, lo havi muad, that the animal is considered guiltless, innocent, until proven guilty, that means that in stoma, it's not a muad for the gedolim, for the larger animals. Is hashta, now we can ask, what's the chiddush of the Mishnah? Yesh lomar miktanim liktanim di alma stoma lo havi muad. You've already established and formulated the halach in the Reisha that even within two ktanim, if it was a muad for one min, then it's not considered guilty until proven so, vis-a-vis another min, because it didn't have an opportunity to see another min, and it doesn't become a muad for another min. And that's the way Rav Papa reads the Mishnah. Frekt Rav Zera, this is Rav Zera's attack against Rav Papa. I'm sorry, Rav Zvid, I said Rav Zera. Is that did the Mishnah feel compelled to be machadish in the Sefer that if the animal is muad l'ktanim, it does not become muad l'gdolim? But if the girsa is ve'eno muad, then there's a tremendous chiddush of the Mishnah in the Sefer, way, way beyond the Reisha. And that is that b'stama, it is considered to be a muad even for gedolim. Okay, it's one thing to say that mistama is considered a muad for another min. It didn't, by accident, it didn't chance upon another min. It only saw shvarim. It was in the corral of the shvarim. That's one thing. So now it attacks another min. But to say that because it attacks a min ktanim, and now it's going to attack within that same min gedolim, that's a tremendous chiddush. Maybe this animal only starts up with little guys, it's like the sophomores start up or the seniors start up with the freshmen, but you don't start up if you're a junior with a senior or if you're a freshman with a senior. So that's the great chiddush of the Mishnah. And therefore Rav Papa is yado ala tachtona. He really now is in a position where he has to defend the Sefer of the Mishnah. What was the great chiddush of the Sefer of the Mishnah? And that's based on the fact that, again, Rav Zvid says that we add the vav and the animal is guilty until proven innocent. Now there's a great chiddush that the animal is guilty and assumed to be muad vis-a-vis gedolim, even though we never saw it attack gedolim. But according to a Papa, who says eno muad, which means that the animal is bechezkas eno muad, meaning it's innocent, then for sure we should assume it's going to be innocent vis-a-vis gedolim. So my kamashma, what did the Mishnah come to be mechadish? So Rav Papa answers, we need the Sefer. There's a big chiddush in the Sefer that we would not have derived from the Reisha. And Salkedait Chamina. If we didn't have the Sefer, we would have entertained the idea that the whole parts bay Bahumina, since we see that this animal is belligerent vis-a-vis its own min, meaning the min of Shvarim, and it was no geach, the min of Shvarim, it became a muad, and it was parts bay. Parts bay means uncontrolled belligerency vis-a-vis its own min. Loshna gedolim didei v'loshna ketanim didei. I would therefore assume that once it's proven itself muad vis-a-vis the animals of its min, it doesn't like this min. It views, shall we say, psychologically every member of its own group, of its own species, to be competition. They're all competing for the same para. Is kamash malan. That's what the Mishnah says, the law of imud, that this principle, that the shor is considered guiltless until proven innocent, applies even to gedolim. Now the Gemara wants to turn it around and ask, why is it? Ira, you okay? Yeah? You all right, Ira?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Sorry.
Okay.
It was on what's one call on mute.
I'll tell you, especially on a Sunday morning after a long weekend, if you're listening to soft music, it's like a mood that you'll probably just relax, if you know what I mean.
No music.
Okay, so Rav Papa diek mi reisha. Now we want to answer the question: what led Rav Papa to his position of omitting the extra vav and assuming that the animal is innocent until proven guilty? And even though Rav Zvid has the extra vav, which means v'einamud, we've already proven, so therefore, we have to prove that it's not muad to the another min, because otherwise it's guilty until proven innocent. Rav Papa doesn't have the extra vav, and his position is that the animal is guiltless until proven guilty. It's innocent until proven guilty. To Katani, it says in the Sefer Muad li'adam ein amud lebehema. If the animal has attacked human beings, it's not considered a muad for animals. It makes sense if you leave out the vav and you read it eino muad tanan, and the Mishnah is telling me that stama lo havi muad, according to our Papa's omission of the vav, we assume the animal to be guiltless and innocent until proven guilty, and therefore muad li adam eino muad lebehema, is then I can justify the chiddush of the Sefer, that you would have said the following: you know what? If this animal attacks human beings that know how to defend themselves and have intelligence, that proves that this animal is a really belligerent animal. And therefore, I would have said, Stama, that there's no reason to assume that the animal would be placid vis-a-vis behemos. Maybe because it didn't see behemos, therefore it didn't attack behemos. But if the animal attacks Bnei Adam, then for sure it would attack animals, because the Ben Adam is a more formidable, shall we say, victim, or combatant, than a behemoth. Hakamash Malon. Now there's a great chiddush in the Sefer of the Mishnah. Until proven guilty, the animal is assumed to be innocent vis-a-vis behemos, and there was no maisa of negicha to establish a chazok of nadchanut legabe behemos. But if you're going to go with the girsa and the approach of Rav Zvid, that ve'eno muad ktani, and the Mishnah means to say that we assume the animal to be guilty until it's proven innocent, and therefore in stama we're going to give it a status of a muad even for behemos. In other words, this animal on 3 occasions had attacked shvarim, and now we're going to assume that it is certainly muad even for behemos. I'm sorry, just 1 second. Hastama havi muad. It's assumed to be muad for behemos. So the Gemara says, if that be the case, what's the chiddush of the Sefer? Hashli yeshlom de behemo lebehemo stama havi muad. If it's muad from one behemoth to another, then for sure, may adam behemoth for sure it goes without saying that if it's muad for, for an adam, certainly, which is a more difficult challenge for the animal, yet the animal is so belligerent it even attacks a ben adam, then how much more so it would be attacking a behemoth. And now Rav Zvid is going to have to address this question as to the diuk of Rav Papa. What is the response of Rav Zvid? How is he going to justify the chiddush of the seifa of muad li'adam made a muad l'beima? Because we certainly would assume that he's guilty,
Right.
even if he hasn't proven himself to be guilty. And he will certainly attack Bnei Adam. Rav Zvid Omer L'cha, Reisha achazara koi. The Reisha of the Mishnah is not talking about a case where the animal became a sharmud, but rather a case where the animal was chozer to becoming a tam. It removed its status as a shar, we called it tshuva, and it became a tam after it was already a muad. Kigon. The havi muad li adam umuad lebeima. The animal attacks both human beings and animals, but for hadar baby behema, it proved itself to do tshuva with regard to behema. It hasn't proven itself to see bnei adam and desist from attacking bnei adam. The koi nami behema tlos azimni. The animal stood near another animal on 3 occasions. Flo nagach, and it did tshuva, and it was no geach. Now, ma'odetem, I would have said, came into lo hadar b'mi adam. It never desisted from attacking a human being. Is chazor de behema lav chazori? Maybe it's a package deal. It's one entity, and either the shor has the status of a muad, or it has the status of a tam. And therefore, I might say that since it hasn't yet accomplished the chazorah in lamdish, it turns to be mafkia the shem muad vis-a-vis adam, then we can't even be mafkia the shem muad legabi behema, because it's one entity. Kamash malan, the Mishnah wants to teach me the eno muad lebehema, which means that chazor the behema mi chazor havi, that it did shuva on 3 occasions. It was exposed to another shor, and it did not attack the shor, and that's considered a chazorah. And therefore, if the animal is nogeach another animal, then the bailam will only pay like a shor tam chatzin ezen, even though the animal retains its status as a muad li'adam. Meisvei, the Gemara now raises an objection on Rav Zvid from the following brayso. Sumchus Omer, Sumchus establishes regarding a shor that's muad li'adam is muad l'behem. Once the shor has already established itself as a muad li'adam, it's muad l'behem. And this sounds very similar to Rav Zvid. So far we don't see it as a kasha on Rav Zvid. But then keep in mind, this is only Sumchus. Mikal v'chomer. And what's the kal v'chomer? Umali adam. Muad, if a shor attacks a formidable combatant, like an adam, and therefore it's established itself as a muad li'adam, libehema lo kolshkein, how much more so for a behema? Rashi invokes the law of mazel. Leave out the mazel right now. But Michlal, the Gemara's medayik from the fact that this brayso only quotes Sumchus as apparently a das yochid, that the Tanna Kamma ain't no muad ka'amar. It implies that the Tanna Kamma, who is the author of our Mishnah, as opposed to Sumchus, the author of the brayso, he holds that muad li'adam is not muad lebehem, and therefore ain't no muad t'nan. We should accept, according, and this is Rav Papa, this is a right to Rav Papa against Rav Zvid, the girsa of Enomur without the extra vav, which means that the Mishnah is being machadish, that even though in a case of stama, the shor is not muad lebehema, it's only muad li adam, but if the Gemara is attacking now Rav Zvid, if your girsa is ve'eno muad, then what you need is ve'eno muad. You need a proof that it's not muad as far as behema. But in the case of a stoma, we're going to assume that it's a muad also the behema. So why is Sumchus coming to argue on our Mishnah? Basically, he's reiterating what Rav Zvid had in our Mishnah. And it must be that he was disagreeing with the Mishnah because the Mishnah had the word muad. Rav Zvid says, no, I'm going to still insist that the Girsa in our Mishnah is ve'eno muad with the vav. And as we already explained it, the scenario of the Mishnah is where the shor was a shor for a muad, established a muad for both behema and adam, and it was only chosbo mi behema, is sumchus a chazorikoi. Sumchus is relating to the Mishnah of chazor, v'alchi kamu. And this is what Sumchus is arguing against the Tanakam. Dikar Amrit, you said the chazor behema is considered a chazara, even though as far as adam, the shor remains a shor muad, but he was mafkia his shame mu'adus as far as behema. Says Sumchus, that's not true. I hold the chazor, the behema lav chazor, that even though the animal was choser from attacking bnei adam, and as far as bnei adam it's a tam and not a muad, it only pays chatzi nezek, but mikal v'chom bnei adam, I'm going to assume that for sure the chazor, the behema, even though it didn't see any behemoths, we don't see and prove that it did tshuva as far as behema, it certainly is no longer a muad of behema. Why? Kavachomer. Uma adam lo kama hader be the behema lo kolshke. If the animal has not done tshuva to be mafkia its shame muadus as far as Adam, then certainly it remains a shame muad as far as behemos are concerned. Honestly, I find this very problematic because the animal saw behemos and desisted from attacking them. No, but the shame muad, it cannot remove because it still retains its muad for that which is chamur, namely for bnei Adam. Now Rav Ashi is going to try to prove Rav Zvid. Rav Ashi Toshma. Let's take a look at the last part of the Mishnah. Amru lifnei Rabbi Yehuda, Harei zamud l'shabbosos ve'enamud limosachol. Amar lehem l'shabbosos mishalim nezek shol limosachol mishalim chatzi nezek ve'i amrit bishleim. If you're going to learn the girsa in our Mishnah, like Rav Zvid, and now Rav Ashi wants to support Rav Zvid v'eino muad ketani, which means again that the animal has to prove itself to be tam as far as other minim are concerned. Is now we can understand the Mishnah kipshuto shiule hu dekamishayli. Now we can justify the question that was asked to Rabbi Yehuda, what's the din in this case? The show is mu'il shabbosos, and it's not mu'li me'achol. In other words, according to Rav Zvid, the girsa is vav, mu'ad. I'm sorry, ve'eno mu'ad, right? Ve'eno mu'ad means it's got to prove itself not to be mu'ad, otherwise we assume it's mu'ad. Why would you assume it's mu'ad? And that's the question they asked him. It only attacks on Shabbosos. Rabbi Yehuda responds to the question of his Talmidim that it's only muad l'Shabbosos. If we're going to go with Rav Zvid and we're going to omit the vav, which means that the animal is considered guiltless, it's considered innocent until proven guilty. And the Talmidim came to ask the din in front of Rabbi Yehuda if it's muad l'Shabbosos. Is it muad l'yemos hachol? Then we have the following question: Agmuri hu dekama megamri le? it sounds like the Talmidim are coming to teach the din to Rabbi Yehuda. And furthermore, it's difficult. What did Rabbi Yehuda need? What was pushing him to answer that question? Because even if they said that that's the din, then it proves that the Girsa in the Mishnah is ve'eno muad, like Rav Zvid. And it's not a psak din, it's just a continuation of the Maisa that was known to them, that he's not muad limos achol. And now Rav Yana is going to bring another proof to support Rav Zvid. Rav Yana mi reisha nami daika. I could be medaik Rav Zvid, the extra vav, even for the reisha of the Mishnah, even before the question that Talmidim of Rabbi Yehuda asked Rabbi Yehuda, the Katani. It says in the Mishnah that let's go through all the possible scenarios where the shor was muad for this and not for that. If you're going to accept the approach of Rav Zvid, you add the vav. And that means that all the above cases, the Mishnah didn't actually paskin the din, and therefore Purushay Kamma Farish. Now the Mishnah sets up and, let's say, explicates the din, that in all the above cases that were mentioned earlier, it's muad l'shar, and it pays nezik shalem, and it only pays chatzi nezik for eno muad, and that's because the eno muad. Ela iyamid, if you're going to say like Rav Papa that eno muad ktani, that we're going to omit the vav, is paska maisu. The Mishnah concludes itself with the din that muad mishalim nezek shalom and a muad mishalim chatzi nezek is maisu. Why did the Mishnah have to say es muad lo mishalim nezek shalom veshe eno muad lo mishalim chatzi nezek? I mean, basically, that's just a repetition of what we had over and over again in the Mishnah, because we don't have the extra vav. So what are you saying? Es muad lo veshe eno muad. You're repeating the same thing, that the shor is guiltless until proven guilty. Ad hashalosh meaning the hasam. That tam mishal chatzi nezek and muad mishal nezek shalom. Do we need the Mishnah to tell me that a shor muad pays nezek shalom and a shor tam pays chatzi nezek? And the Gemara says, Papa. And even if you'll tell me that after all the riots that we brought one after the other to support Rav Zvid, the halach is still like Rav Papa, that mistama, the animal is considered guiltless, and it doesn't become a muad to another min, then nogach shor chamor v'gamal nasa muad lakol. There is a case in which even Rav Papa would agree that if the animal attacks animals, but three different species of animals, now you have a fourth species, it's muad for the fourth species. The fact that the animal attacks three different species proves, even according to Rav Papa, that it's muad l'kol. Tan Rabbanan, rosh shar v'nogach, shar v'lo nogach. The animal sees one shar and attacks, sees another shar and is placid, doesn't attack. Shar v'nogach, shar v'lo nogach. Shar v'nogach, shar v'lo nogach. There's a pattern here that every other time it's nogeach. Nasa muad l'serigin. The Bryce establishes that you can have a muad l'serigin, which means that if it attacks every other shar, every second shar that it sees, you pay nezek shalom. But on the other ones, like bedilug that it skipped over, then if it would be nogeach, one of those, then it would only pay chatzi nezek. And that means that you can have something called a muad for the every other shar l'shma. Tan Rabbanan, we learned in the Brisa, rosh shar v'nogach, chamor v'lo nogach, sus v'nogach, gamol v'lo nogach, perid v'nogach, arod v'lo nogach, nasa muad l'serigin lakol. So now the animal sees 6 different species of animals: a shor, a chamor, a sus, a gamal, and a parrot, and an oro.
What's parrot?
Parrot is a kind of chamor, and a road. So the normal donkey that you see is called a parrot. A road is a wild donkey that you'll find only in the desert areas. Anyway, so parrot and a road are considered like 2 different meanings. So now every other time it sees an animal, it's nogeach, and now in effect it was nogeach 3 different species. And as we said before, 3 different species representative of all the animals. It's word for all animals. Even though there were other species in between, that's irrelevant. We're going to establish the muadas based on the 3 negichos beserigin, meaning every other negicha. And this animal is a nagchan and a short time for every other min. But beserigin, skip. Iboilahu. Now we're going to turn to Lamed Zayin Amud Beis. Nogach shor shor v'shor. What happens if the animal is nogeach 3 shvarim, one after the other? Chamor v'gamal mau. L'chora, we should say here that the animal is only nagchan for shvarim. So what's the Gemara's suffix here about chamor v'gamal? So the Gemara now analyzes this. Hai shor basra bosa shvarim shedinamle. The last negicha of the shor, meaning shor number 3, can now link up and serve a double function. It establishes the shor as a shor nagchan, a shor muad, but so far it's only muad lishvar. But it could serve and wear a different hat. It's the first negicha of a new set of 3 negichos of shor, chamor, v'gamal. And as we said, if it attacks 3 species, then it becomes a shor muad for all animals. So that's called basa shvarim shadinam. Or should we say no? Akati l'shvar mudiayid l'midi achridi lo ayid. Maybe we should say that now the shor is only a nagchan as far as shvarim, and we finish one set of 3 shvarim, and now we start a new set of negichas with chamor v'gamal. We need a third negicha. O Dilma, hai shor basra basar chamor v'gamal shalina. Or do we have the right to take the third negicha of a shor, attach it as and integrate it into a series of shor, chamor v'gamal, and v'yayid leil kulamina? Now it's not for any animal. Another suffix. Chamor v'gamal. Shor, shor, v'shor, mau. What if we switch the sequence? It starts with chamor, gamal, and then it goes on to shor. L'chora, pashtus would be that now it's a muad l'chol aminin. Or do we say no? Let's attach the third negicha of a shor to the following 2 negichos and make that into a closed unit, a closed set. Mau. Hai shor kamma bosa chamor v'gamal shadinin le. And therefore kati l'shvar mudiyayid ach lemina chrina loya. So it's like an intim tzaloma. Even if you're going to tell me that shor, 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 and then chamor v'gamal is not a muad l'chol aminim, but what if we switch the order around and it started with chamor v'gamal and then the third negicha was a shor? Another suffix. Shabbos, Shabbos, Shabbos. And then echad b'Shabbos v'shein b'Shabbos mau. Same exact suffix as what we saw before in shor, shor, v'shor, chamor v'gamal. Hai Shabbos basraisa. Can we take the third negicha on Shabbos and then shadinon basa Shabbos hu shadinon? We leave it together with Shabbos. It's the third in the sequence of Shabbos. Vakati l'Shabbos hu di'ayid l'mos kamaloya. Oh, Dilma, do we have the right to say? Let's take the third negicha of Shabbos and attach it to Sunday and Monday. Now it became a muad for all days. And now we're going to switch it around the other direction. Chamishi b'Shabbos v'erev Shabbos. First 2 negichas were on a Thursday and a Friday. Now we need a third negicha on a different day, which happened Shabbos, but it was followed up by Shabbos v'Shabbos. So now we have a new series of 3 Shabbos mouth. Hi Shabbos Kamaisa Bosa Chamishi B'Shabbos Ve'erev Shabbos Adinale. Can we attach the third negich of Shabbos to the first two negichas of Thursday and Friday and establish that's a nagchan for all days of the week? O Dilma, should we say no? O Dilma Shabbos Kamaisa Bosa Shabbos Shaninale. We're going to take the first Shabbos, which is the third negicha following Thursday and Friday, and attach it forward to the second Shabbos and the third Shabbos. Another suffix. Nogach shor b'yom chamisha sor b'chodesh zeh. On this month, it was nogach on the 15th of the month. And then it was nogach on yom shisha sor b'chodesh zeh on the 16th of this month. No, I'm sorry, b'chodesh zeh, meaning the next month.
Right.
So it's 15 on the first month, 16 on the second month, u'b'yom shiva sor b'chodesh zeh, and on the third month on the 17th. Pluto de Rav Ushmuel Dietmar. The Gemara wants to say this depends upon halacha in Haflagos, in Nida, Dietmar, we learned in Masechet Nida Samach Dal. Rasa b'yom chamisha sar b'chodesh zeh, b'yom shisha sar b'chodesh zeh, b'yom shiva sar b'chodesh zeh, is Rav Amar Kavala Veses. This is what's called a Veses L'dilug. And we assume that in the next month will also be medalig one day, and she can anticipate that she'll see dam on the next number in the fourth month, meaning if it was 15, 16, 17, she'll anticipate seeing dam on the 18th of the fourth month. That's the sheet of Rav, and that has relevance after she's koveah veses to the din of Prisha that he has to be porish. Shmuel Amar, no. Right? If you're going to establish a haflaga diluk, then the first re'iyah is not integrated because it wasn't a diluk. So the diluk starts from the 16th. The second re'iyah is established one diluk because she went from 15 to 16. Do you follow? So you have 15, 16, 17 in 3 consecutive months, right? So the question is, do we, as Rav would say, we count 15, count 16, count 17, we have 3 dealings. Comes along Shmuel, he says, what are you talking about? The first one, 15, that wasn't a re'iyah of a dealing. From 15 to 16, that's the first dealing. 16 to 17 is the second dealing. And when does she establish herself haflaga with dilug? That's only after number 18. With the 18, she now has 3 dilugim. And this, the Gemara says, is going to be parallel in and analogous to the case of a nagchan. Right? The show is nogech on the 15th, 16th, 17th, according to Rav, it's already nagchan b'dilug, and you can anticipate that it'll be nogech on the 18th of the next month.
They really think the shore. They really think the shore has such an internal clock. Yeah, that
it's a program. The shore is programmed.
The shore is programmed to go.
Like a program.
We're talking 30 days.
Yeah.
30
What's
days
that thing
later.
called in computers? You know, when you have what's it called? An algorithm or something?
I guess. Yeah, like.
You know, it's like a computer. You know. Oh my Rava Shama called shofar v'nogach. The shor gets very upset. It hears the shofar. Kol shofar v'nogach, kol shofar v'nogach, nasemud l'shofars. Pshita. If that's what gets the shor angry, then we know that that's going to get the shor angry. Ma'odeteva would have thought hach shofar Kamma. Siyuma bi alma hudanakite. That first shofar after it was nogeach was just because it got scared. It wasn't that there was a pattern in the animal to respond to shofars, but this was the first time in the life of the shor that it ever heard a shofar. So it got very excited, what we call in Hebrew behala. You know, it was like overwhelmed. Kamash Malan, we want to learn a chiddush here that no, the first shofar and the first negich of resulting from the shofar is also integrated into the 3 negichas of the three shofars. And that brings us to the Mishnah here on Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis. Shor shel Yisrael shenogach shor shel hegdesh. V'shel hegdesh shenogach shor shel hegel pot. Now, the Mishnah makes sense in the case of a shor shel Yisrael shenogach shor shel hegdesh, because the pasuk says shenemar re'ehu. So let's go through the pasuk in Parshas Mishpatim. It says ki yigov shor isha shor re'ehu, and we darshan re'ehu v'lo shor shel hegdesh. And the pashtus would be that if a privately owned shor attacks a shor shel hegdesh, which is kind of like an enterprise or a company-owned shor, then it's not re'ehu, and you're not chayav. But the Mishnah says no. We're going to learn the word re'ehu in two different directions. Number one, if the opposite of re'ehu is the victim, that's shor Yisrael shenogach shor shel hegdesh, and also in a case where the shor that's not re'ehu was the antagonist, was the nogeach, so that the shor of hegdesh, which is not re'ehu, was nogeach a shor shel Yisrael, and you're potur. Another thing, shor shel Yisrael shenogach l'shor shel Knani potur, shel Knani shenogach l'shor shel Yisrael beitam bein muad mishali nezik shalom. So we're going to have to figure out why that's so. This was a source of anti-Semitism. In any event, the Mishnah said, the Gemara says, "Fine, masnisen to loker of Shimon ben Menashe." This Mishnah that says that if our shor is nogeach a shor shel hegdesh, your potur of Shimon ben Menashe holds you chayav. In Sanya, we learned to the Brisa shor shel hegdesh. I'm sorry, shel hegel. Shenogach l'shor shel hegdesh. Shel hegdesh shenogach l'shor shel hegel potur. Shenever shor re'ehu v'lo shor shel hegdesh. That's exactly our Mishnah, but Rav Shimon ben Menashe is quoted as the dissenting view in a Brisa that says shor shel hegdesh shenogach shor shel hegel potur. So re'ehu now is excluding the opposite of re'ehu as an antagonist, as the naghan, and it's not shor shel re'ehu that's chayav. However, in the reverse case, v'shel hegel shenogach shor shel hegdesh, if our shor was nogeach shor shel hegdesh, beitamu meimud mishalim nezik shalom. Not only is he not potur, but he's even more chomer, and you pay even on the first negicha to hegdesh, pay nezik shalom. Amri. So the Gemara now asks the following question: my kasav Reb Shimon, what is the logic of Reb Shimon? Ireo dafka, if he agrees that the word re'ehu is a mute to exclude a shor shel hegdesh, is then the Gemara thinks it should go both directions. Afilu shel hegel shenogach shel hegdesh lifta. In other words, the whole parsha of shor naghan and the chiyuv that the Baal Shor has to pay compensation, that's only if the victim was a shor re'ehu, and therefore in the case of shor shel hegdesh should be part. The ire'ehu lav dafka, if for some reason Reb Shimon ben Menashe just drops the miyud of re'ehu is lav dafka, is then afilu hegdesh name kigenogach the heged b'chaim. Why does Reb Shimon ben Menashe hold that if a shor shel hegdesh is nogeach a shor shel hegel, he's part? If he doesn't darshan the miyud of re'ehu, v'chi tema, if you're going to say that according to Reb Shimon ben Menashe liolam kasav re'ehu dafka, and it's got to be a shor re'ehu, and therefore if a shor shel hegdesh was nogeach, our shor is part. Umiu hegel ki nogach the hegdesh hainu time of the mechayev is another reason why it's chayav when our shor is nogeach hegdesh. Mishum dekam ma'isi le mikal v'chomer derives from kal v'chomer the hegel. Ma hegel shenogach shel hegel chayav ki nog the hegdesh shel kol shkein the mechayev. If you're chayav for being nogeach an ordinary citizen's shor, then for sure you should be chayav for being nogeach hegdesh. And therefore, we have to ask the following question: Dayo levamin adin lios kidnadun. Right? If you're applying a kal v'chomer to be mechadesh, that if you're nogeach a social hegdesh, you have to pay for sure, but you derive it from social hedge. If you were to get social hedge, you only pay chatzi nezek. It's a short time. How could Rav Shimon ben Menashe say that if you get a social hegdesh, you pay nezek shalom on the first round? Malahal and tam chatzi nezek hochinami chatzi nezek. Elam Reish Lakish, we have to come up with another explanation for Rav Shimon ben Menashe that Reyehu means dafka. And how did Rav Shimon ben Menashe darshan Reyehu? Hakol hayu b'chlal nezek shalom. Before the Torah was machadish the din of shor tam, every case would be included on the nezek shalom, and that would include both a social hejod and a social hegdish. They're all included in the din of paying nezek shalom. Ukshepirit l'cha kosav reyehu gabi tam, reyehu de tam mishalim chatzi nezek. Nechal de hegdish bein tam u bein muad mishalim nezek shalom. So if Shimon ben Menashe understood that when the Torah added the word and the miyud of re'eu, it was only with regard to tam, to tell us that a shor tam is considered re'eu and pays chatzi nezek because it's re'eu. But in a case of hegdesh, which is not considered re'eu, meaning if our shor is no geach or social hegdesh, we don't have the p'tur, the special p'tur of chatzi nezek, and therefore bein tam bein muad mishali nezek shalom. Diyam kain here on the top of Lamed Ches, and with this we'll conclude, is nichtov krol hayriyeu gabi muad. The mir of re'eu should have been written near shar muad, and that would have been a big chiddush that even though a muad is chayiv to pay nezek shalom, it's pot in the case of hegdesh. But it doesn't say that miut legabe shar muad, and the miut was written legabe shar tam, and therefore we apply the Kamma chomer that re'eu is to be mamayik hegdesh, and we come to the conclusion the opposite, that legabe hegdesh you pay nezek shalom even for a shar tam. So shar tam, according to Rav Shimon ben Menashe, is no ger for social hegdesh, pays nezek shalom. Okay then?
Yeah, sure. Very good.
Great. Okay, thank you so much and have a great week.
All right, no problem. You too. Have a good week.
Thank you.